everyone, welcome back to another episode from Ampro Engineering. This is another installment of Project Bandit. I know that this has been a long time coming, so I hope that it is worth it. We can see our main chassis tub here, the front bumper, and all these other goodies. What you are looking at here is the complete double wishbone setup for the Bandit. With this front suspension, we have the lower arms, we have the uprights, and we have the spindle. So the spindle is going to use the spindle directly out of the Tamiya Hornet. It was a way for me to figure out what's going to work by just using random stuff that I had laying around. And then this is the shock tower. My Bandit already had the front suspension broken, so that's going to drop right in there and give us a tower. Before we begin, I want to clean out all the pivot points with 3mm bit on the drill. I have ball studs that go in these two little holes, so we'll clean this out with a 2.5mm bit. Same with this guy here. First step is going to be drilling the holes for the front shock tower. These holes are 2.5mm and should also be cleaned out as well. And I'm going to just eyeball where the holes are because I know that one hole is down in this corner, one's in this corner, and one's in the center. So I'm just going to mark that. Drilled out some 4mm holes. And we'll put in some 3mm self-tapping screws in the bottom with some washers, and that will put the shock tower in. Tower is screwed in place with my bag of new old stock vintage Tamiya hardware. That. So the arms, and then we'll put the bumper directly over it. And I'm pretty certain that I've got, oh actually no, I don't need that anymore. That's the steering trim that this thing will no longer use. So there we go. That's how the arms are going to look. Bumper's in. Very cool. Now we can install the shock absorbers. So the shock absorbers that we're going to use are these Lozi shocks, and I believe these are for whatever this is. And I'm sure there are less expensive shocks out there, but in terms of the size that I wanted, this was all I could find. So that is my plan on this car. It was basically to spare no expense. And these arms are specifically designed for this lower mount. This is going to require an M2 screw, so I'll grab one of those. Get 12mm long M2. There you go. A very tiny little M2 nut on this side over here, and that's in. On top, we're going to need two things. We will put in a 6mm long brass spacer. It's in pretty much every Tamiya kit ever made. And that'll go right there. And we'll put this M3 screw through that entire thing and put a nut on it when I find it. Now to install this upright, so at the base we're going to install a screw pin, and you can see that there's quite a lot of play axially, and the reason is I wanted to be able to fine-tune the wheelbase of the car. I'm actually putting this in backwards. I made a much thicker area here for this to go into place so that it was a little more durable. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw in a couple of washers so that it centers to give us an idea if we have to move it forward or backward. And next the ball studs are going to go in. I don't know where these pink ones came from, but I like them. So that's what's going in. I should have done the whole suspension in pink. But this is the 1990s that this truck was made in, so pink and orange, I'm sure they go together just fine. And the last ones will go in this hole here. I made the upper link, installed that, so now we do have double wishbone suspension over here. I don't really know what the camber gain is. I'm seeing some, but I really wasn't able to do many calculations because I had to estimate the angle for the arm axis, and that was weird, so I kind of had to eyeball some stuff. So you know what, if it has a little camber gain, screw it. For this next part, we need this spindle. And to get the spindle, we're going to steal it from a Hornet. I've got a million of these, so why not? To get it off, I'm going to use a nut driver and screw a nut all the way on and just continue to turn. And it'll just break it loose, and then I'll slowly pull it out and it'll come right out like so. And we'll clean out these holes with a 5mm bit and then slot these right in. The spindle should just slot right in, and you want to align both of these holes. And I used a 2mm Tamiya ball stud because I have a feeling that we're going to be short in space over here, and one of the larger 3mm ones, whose ball has a diameter of 4.8, is going to be way too tight. And this also has a 2mm adjustment up and down. To put it together, we are going to use, as you can imagine, a screw pin. And should, maybe, hopefully, if this is all, oh wow, it worked. There you go. I'm not going to screw it all the way in because I want to make sure that the right height is correct. So we'll just leave it like that for now. And this is basically our steering. There we have it. So that is the complete double wishbone front suspension for the Tyco Bandit. I'm really looking forward to getting this thing all buttoned up. The next time you see this car, we're going to have an adapter to fit the stock wheels on this spindle, since obviously the standard wheel doesn't do this. And then we're going to address the transmission, which I, in fact, was able to get open. But before we take off, let's take a look at the body again. You can see here that I've been in the process of fixing this wheel arch that was all worn out. This side is all but finished. It's beautiful. When we give it a coat of primer, it should completely blend in. And I'm still finishing this side, but I think you all deserve to see how this is going to line up. See it like so. To me, it has to go back about 1 millimeter, but until we get the tire on here, I really can't tell. Also, the body should be up a little bit higher like so. It's a little bit hard to see. It was also very important that the wheel not come into contact with the body. If I've succeeded with that, we won't know for a little while. Well, everyone, thank you all so much for watching, and thank you for all of the push to get this video finished. There's been a lot of people that want to see it, and I hope this was worth the wait. The next installment will be very, very soon, as most of the designs are completed. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.